Hey, this is Josh with Blue Sky Energy, and this is a brief overview of the process of self-servicing your system. In the event that you're not getting good support from your installer or they went out of business, a handful of other possibilities, and you just want to get your system up and running if you have a failed inverter or deal with a system issue, it's actually pretty easy to deal with Enphase directly. While they do encourage you to work through an installer or a system maintainer, you can actually file warranty claims yourself and do the process pretty simply with their new updates in their software. So this is the login for the dashboard for Enlighten Manager. This is showing a rooftop system here in Hawaii that has a history of some system issues that we're going to use to show as an example. Primarily what you're looking for on the roof when you look at the array is, what is the historical production? I'm looking at year to date here through September to show, okay, what was the system production? And we can see there were two modules here that actually had to have RMAs installed earlier this year in order to fix failed inverters. Now, all the rest of these are about 7 years old, so they've all performed pretty well during that time, and you can see the comparable differences between them. Accordingly. Now, when you look at the screen, you may have the free version, so you may have a little bit different visibility than what this shows here, but the process is essentially the same. What you're doing is you're looking for system issues. You can see the status of the system up here showing microinverters not reporting. This is probably the most common system issue with Enphase, and it's really not always a critical one. Oftentimes there's communication issues in the system that resolve themselves over time. If you do have a situation where all of the microinverters like this are not reporting for an extended period of time, then that's probably something that you want to reach out to Enphase for. And you can go to the support tab here, and this will take you to their support site. Separately, new tab, and choose your region. And you can search underneath all of their support to get an idea of what a particular event issue might look like, or you can contact contact Enphase directly to get support on these issues. But going back to the system here, primarily the ones that we're looking for are, events. When we go to the events tab, we click on this, it'll show you what the event is here for the flag. Microinverter not reporting. They're all showing this because, there's actually some communication issue with the Envoy, which is probably going to self-resolve over a period of time. If it doesn't, then the Envoy itself may need to be replaced. If you have one or two panels that are showing this issue, then it may be an issue with those microinverters, and it's worth filing for a warranty claim on those inverters. More specifically, when we go here to the Events tab, and we look at some past events here, you're going to notice these three here: AC voltage out of range, DC voltage too low, and device produced no power. These are ones that are typically going to be more concerning in terms of the actual integrity of the inverter. So you can see these two here, these were long-standing device issues with two inverters up on the roof, which were the two that were replaced, that went on for some time. These inverters had failed. Whereas these were all like only a day long. Those are issues that resolve themselves and are typically not that concerning. Nothing that you want to file a warranty claim for. So give an issue a few days and see what happens with it. If it's ongoing, then it's probably an inverter that needs to be replaced. And this again is device produced no power. You'd want to look for the same thing for DC voltage too low, which could potentially be the module, but it could also be the microinverter, and AC voltage out of range. Most likely the microinverter, but these are rare and they typically resolve themselves in pretty short order. So these are really the two big ones that you're looking for: DC voltage too low and device produced no power. In the event that you have an issue with an inverter, you can go back and look at that inverter on the roof or in your Enlighten free account. You can pick the device serial number here. So we can see this is 02174. If we go to the settings tab over here, then we can scroll down to this section here where it says self-service, and we can click on request return. Now under request return, it's going to take us to a separate screen where we select the shipping address that we want the return to go to if it's approved. And we're also going to select the devices that we want. So we can go down, we look for that same serial number, and then we go ahead and click on it, and we click on submit. This is going to send a support case to Enphase, which they're going to go and look at more granular data that shows what the actual issues with the inverter is or are, and if it is a failed inverter, then they will mail you out a new one, and you can have it installed, which you can either do yourself or you can hire a professional to do. Now, I don't necessarily recommend doing it yourself, but it is actually pretty straightforward, and you can go out and find some support from other videos on seeing how to do that. The basic process is turning your system off, going up on the roof, removing the PV module, taking care to remove the leads from the PV module to the inverter carefully. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing this during the daytime, while it's sunny, there will be DC voltage. So the metal contacts are well inside of the connectors, so they're generally not a concern, but just be mindful of that. And then you're just pulling off the old inverter and installing a new one in similar fashion to what's up there now, putting the module back in place. Once the replacement is installed, if you did it yourself or you had a professional do it and they're just putting it in for you, you'd want to go to install replacement, and you want to enter the serial number of the old inverter and then enter the new inverter, and this will replace it in the array up here on the roof, as you see with these two here. And that's pretty much it. Any other questions or issues, go to the Enphase support site, try to get more information there.